supervisor. Right. Let's start with the pledge and then we'll move to the first order of business.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first order of business is.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I think we need a vote to have you lead the meeting, so we didn't do what we did last time.
I was just gonna say. First order of business is we need to select a chair for this meeting in the absence of the supervisor. It's my duty to open the meeting and ask for nominations for a chair for this meeting. Any of the nominations? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, first order of business is approval of the agenda. Dan, do we need to reword the bike path language, the action item where we say bike path millage language, August 2024?
I would say August 2024 election, removal from ballot, November 2024 election.
Okay. Good. Let's make that change and then I'd look for a motion to approve as amended.
So
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. At this point, we'll open public comment. Would anybody on this side of the, never mind.
I think we should continue.
Mr. Chair, there's also the approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is approval of the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes from the last meeting.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
By the way, you're fine with it.
4 minutes so far. All right, so the action item is the resolution that's before you. And rather than get back down into the weeds on rollbacks and everything else, which we've already discussed before the meeting, I'd like for Dan to just quickly explain this to us so we can vote on it.
Sure. Just two real quick things to point out. One, when you're doing a millage, there is a Headley rollback. And there's some dispute as to whether the language in the ballot proposition, when you're doing an increase, should have language about what the millage was set based upon the rollback. We found out about that on Monday. There wasn't time enough to correct it because the language needs to be certified to the township clerk by Tuesday at 4. There wasn't time to have a special meeting to do that. So the purpose of this resolution is to add language in it for the ballot proposition to make it clear that you are recovering the original voted 0.4 mils as rolled back to 0.3622. So that it would be increased to 0.4 and then increased to 0.55. That language cannot be certified to the clerk in time under the election law because that would have required it to be done by 4 p.m. yesterday. What this will do is put it on the ballot in the November election. Because you adopted a resolution last week, Thursday, with language that was concerning to county and I think maybe the Board of Equalization, we need to have a motion to remove it from the August primary ballot. So this resolution will do those two things. It will remove the ballot proposition that you voted on last week, Thursday, from the ballot from the August election. and put on the ballot for the November general election, the corrected language.
Is that two separate motions?
It is one motion to approve the resolution. The resolution contains both things.
Okay, one other question, they approved the 0.55. Is that gonna be rolled back somewhat right away too?
No, it should not be if the voters approve this ballot proposition in November. It would not be immediately rolled back. Go ahead, Howard.
It'll be rolled back in the very next year. It'll be first 0.55 in the first year.
Correct.
And then the very next year, it'll be rolled back to
Correct. And-
0.53.
And I apologize if I misunderstood your question, Treasurer. When the original voted 0.55, the first year of collection should be 0.55. Thereafter, it will be rolled back based upon the Headley Amendment unless that somehow gets changed, which I don't foresee happening. But yeah, it will be subject to rollbacks in the future, but the first year of collection will be 0.55 with an estimated amount of 854,641 in the first year. But subsequent years, it will be subject to Headley rollbacks. There's no way we can do that unless you did a Headley override every year.
Which, I mean, you theoretically could, you just have to put. Theoretically could, you just have to be approving these villages literally.
Schools do that, but can we even do that? Like hypothetically, you'd have to literally have an election you'd have to have this on the ballot for 1 year. And then when,
You could do a 5-year, and at any point in there, if you wanted to bring it back to the voted 0.55 mils, do a Headley override.
oh, okay, so you can, but then you'd have to vote on that every year. Historically, we've never done that.
That's exactly why West Ottawa
Right,
has their election every May.
right,
To, on non-homesteaded millage,
right.
so they don't have to roll it back.
And that's pretty common of schools, is it?
It is pretty common, yeah, so that they're not getting the Headley rollback.
Right,
Let me just piggyback on what Dan said, because the board passed that resolution, no individual can change it. I tried to get it off of the ballot. And the reason we're having this meeting is it required the same body that approved the first language to approve taking it off the ballot. So with that said, is there any more discussion on?
I just want to stay with what I said at the meeting. I think this is too big of an increase at this point. We have other millages we're increasing. I think it's too large of an increase.
Go ahead. Yes.
Those were increasing, will they be on the general election ballot also, or will they be on the funds?
They won't be on either one.
Sure, which I don't.
I think the other one we were talking about increasing was public.
The public safety.
We haven't even decided.
We haven't even decided that one yet. And it may very well be on next May's election. Or
Yeah, as I say, the earliest it could be would be the November general election, but that's ultimately going to be up for the board to decide. It will not be on August because we don't have a time machine to approve it and certify it by yesterday.
I think what you're right, if we do make a decision, we could have 2 millage increases on the same ballot.
yeah.
You need to think about that one.
Yeah.
And I understand what Treasurer Stegert is saying, respect that position. But I guess one thing I would point out is you don't authorize your full operating village either. So what are we at, like 0.3? 0.35 or something like that, where we could authorize 0.9 or a full mill,
I don't remember the exact.
something like that.
I think you're not for sure. Everybody feel comfortable now that they know what's in this resolution?
My issue. I don't think we want to change what the board's vote was for increasing the millage to 5.5, but sharing a little bit with Jan's comment, it was also my comment when I first started that I thought a millage of 0.5 made more sense just from a standpoint, that gave us $1 million in the budget or in the fund. But based on Brian's comment regarding this is the number one issue that came up in the master plan of what the park residents wanted, I changed my mind on that, and I think 5.5 makes a lot of sense. So.
I'm certainly not in favor of rating. Feels like we're in a potential deficit situation on the bike paths in order to keep up with them. That was my only thought, was it didn't seem like a huge amount. But I appreciate what you're saying tremendously from the perspective of there are people in the township that are probably not doing all that well. And it feels like they're getting squeezed from all different sides.
Yeah, the 5.5, if you remember right from the document that was put together, with the average 167,000 assessed value, raised it by $10.
Yeah, I'm still in favor of my 5.5. I just don't want to be broke. I still like.
And what is the current rate right now?
0.36.
It is 0.3622. Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it has 8 years of heavily rollback that would have created 0.3622. Or 9 years.
Is even though we're approving 0.55, or voters would potentially approve 0.55. That'll, to your point, immediately get rolled back to 0.53.
And I apologize, because when you say immediately in the following year, so like, yes, sort of the second year that it's levied, yes.
Which will be 2026.
And you don't
Correct.
totally know what the rollback's
No.
gonna be. It's based on, it's actually, yeah, I don't ever foresee.
It's based on the cumulative value.
Right.
Correct. I don't ever,
Properties in Park Township.
I don't ever see the township not having a Headley rollback because our property values keep increasing. So.
Anyone else? Then I'll call for the motion. The motion would be to approve the resolution in front of us.
Like to make a motion to approve the resolution as stated.
Is there a second? Okay, support. Any other discussion? Any other questions? And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Since there's nobody in the public, may I ask for a motion to adjourn?
You didn't go, you rollback road.
Did we need a roll call?
We should do it.
Did we need a roll call? No.
Support.
No, you don't. It's a resolution.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Okay, let's call it a night. I've had enough. You don't have to do it.